Okay, welcome back. Now let's actually look at an example where we're doing algebra and talking about the additive inverse. Remember, additive means to add and inverse means the opposite. So when you see the word additive inverse, it means I'm adding on the opposite. And we know every number on the number line has an opposite. What's the opposite of positive 5? Negative 5. What's the opposite of negative 2/3? Positive 2/3. And we know when we add opposites, additive inverses, our sum is always going to be 0. So in algebra, this is also true. If I have the term negative x, what would be its additive inverse? What do I add to negative x that would make it cancel out? We all know the opposite of negative x would be positive x. So the additive inverse of negative x is positive x. The way I could check if those are truly additive inverses is if I add them up, I should get a sum of 0. Now we know we're really not adding, we're subtracting, because when we have a negative and a positive, two different signs, you subtract. And if you have x minus x, you would get 0. So our additive inverse of negative x is positive x. Okay, let's look at this binomial. It has two terms, a plus 4. Again, what is the additive inverse of a plus 4? What is the opposite? Well, the opposite of a would be negative a, and the opposite of 4 would be negative 4. So the additive inverse of a plus 4 is negative a minus 4. I can check that because, again, if I add, I should get a sum of 0. And again, we're really not adding because the signs are different. A positive a and a negative a, signs are different. We would subtract an a minus a, and apple minus apple would be 0. 4 minus 4 would be 0. So that's just proving to you, you know this is the additive inverse. So the additive inverse of a plus 4 is negative a minus 4. So in algebra, when we're talking about finding an additive inverse, what are we really doing? All we're really doing is changing the signs. We're making the sign in front of the term the opposite. The sign in front of the term the opposite. Okay, let's look at this expression. This has 1, 2, 3 terms. That would be called a trinomial. So again, the question is, what is the additive inverse of 7c squared minus 11c plus 18? What is the additive inverse? What do I add to that trinomial that would make all the terms become zeros? Well, the additive inverse of 7c squared would be negative 7c squared. The additive inverse of negative 11c would be positive 11c. The additive inverse of positive 18 would be negative 18. So again, all additive inverse means to do is to change the signs. Now I can prove that this is the additive inverse because if I start adding my like terms, they should all cancel out and make 0. 7c squared minus 7c squared would be 0c squared, which means there's nothing there. Negative 11c plus positive 11c, again, would be 0c's, which means there's nothing there. Positive 18 and negative 18, if you put it together, would make 0. So we now know this is the additive inverse of this trinomial. So the moral of the story is when you hear the word additive inverse, think of what it means. Add the opposite. To make terms the opposite by adding, all you're doing is changing their signs. And that's an important concept we're going to need to now proceed and actually do the operation of subtraction.